day from Adam Sandler and Chris called and said, we're doing this new film, and I heard the words arcade games in 1980s and Chris Columbus, and it was like a wet dream come true. You know, anybody who knows me or knows anything about me knows that I'm a product of the 80s. I was born in 1981, and I grew up with those Amblin films. Gremlins and Goonies were my jam. Both of those were written by Chris Columbus. Little round of applause. Show some damn respect. And you know, movies like Ghostbusters and Back to the Future. This film just feels like it has that Amblin DNA to it. Michelle, how are you cast?
You know, really the same way. You know, Chris and Adam called me up and you know, they shared with me the premise of the movie, and I got really excited about it as well because you know I grew up in the 80s as well, and I read it and I had this immediate sense of nostalgia, and I just thought it was such an amazing original concept and a really cool way to introduce a whole new generation to these iconic characters. And you know, I got to tell you the same. Chris Columbus, I could not respect this man enough.
We all love Home Alone. Guys.
Yeah, we all love
that. What was the one about the wizards? Beautiful school.
Yeah.
Chris, how do you ground a movie like this? Because it's a silly premise, it's a wonderful premise, but for an audience to go along with it, which they do. When I saw that premiere, everyone was loving it. How do you ground this premise enough so that people will go along with it?
It's all based on the characters. The thing I loved about the movie was the fact that you start in 1982 with these three kids who won the World Video Arcade Champions, and they thought they were going to go off and be rock stars of the video arcades, but the arcades closed. They were left with useless skills. And I love the fact we cut to them in 2015. One guy's a conspiracy theorist, the other guy's in jail. They really are lost souls. And the fact that the President of the United States gets these guys back together because they can save the planet, because they're the best gamers on the planet, was touching to me. It made me smile. It's like you said, silly premise, but at its heart, emotional.
And so we were talking about Gremlins, we were talking about Goonies. Did this film, when you got the script, did you start thinking about those movies in the 80s that you worked on?
Yeah, people have always been asking me, why don't you write a film like Goonies? Why don't you direct a film like the films written like Goonies or Gremlins? Nothing ever came along. And this was our opportunity to recreate that Amblin vibe. In other words, you sit and you watch Pixels with a summer audience, you get that feeling you had in 1985. I don't know what it is, I can't define it, but it was truly, it's this magical sort of summer feeling.
Well, it's the beginning of the summer blockbuster movie, right? This sort of family entertainment. I mean, Ghostbusters was a kind of PG-13 movie. It really did bring kids together. I loved it when I was a little kid, and I love it now. I don't even think it's for nostalgia reasons. It's because there are jokes that I get now at 30 that I did not get when I was 11 years old and saw Ghostbusters.
Which is the same thing with Pixels. You know, I mean, it really is. Because in directing the movie for a family audience, having kids of my own, the last thing you want to do is bore the parents. You know, I've been in plenty of those movies where I want to blow my brains out. So this movie, truly, I mean,
just name a couple of criminals.
but it is important for a fact. Look, we're an original sort of big budget action adventure comedy in a summer of superheroes and sequels. The fact that we got to make the film is exciting.
Does that feel daunting to you? Does that make you nervous about the film, and considering where Hollywood's at right now with superheroes and with sequels?
I'm always nervous about any film. You know, you want people to see it, you're very proud of it. 2 years of your life is over on Friday, with the first Friday matinee. You know exactly what the movie's going to do. So I'm incredibly nervous, but I'm incredibly proud as well.
Guys, talk about working with Adam Sandler, not as an actor, but as the producer, as the head of Happy Madison. I know this was produced by his company. He handed you the script initially, right? So how does he run a set? What's he like as a producer?
Well, you know, I mean, I think that a lot of people talk about this with Adam, and it's certainly true that it's like a summer camp environment. I mean, he creates an environment that everybody just is forced to have fun, even if you don't want to have fun.
Exactly.
You're forced to. Like, it's just a blast. There was a day that he rented two, and all of us have kids, and we all had families with us. He rented these two large buses and took us to this theme park in Toronto. And we had just this incredible time bonding. And that camaraderie really does translate onto the screen. It's why Peter Dinklage doesn't get along with any of us on screen. He didn't come to the park with us. He stayed home and watched Game of Thrones on an endless loop.
I've heard he does that. It's just Game of Thrones.
He does. He just sits there and he's like, the coolest, actually, I will say this, the coolest thing about when we were shooting that is I used to go to his apartment. I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. It's a great show on HBO. And I would go to his apartment and we would watch the final 4 episodes. And I would always get like Monday morning quarterback from him about what was cut. And it was the geekiest thing ever because I was just like, Tyrion is sitting right there. How is this possible? Why did you do that to your papa?
Michelle, you're kind of Adam's romantic lead in this. How did you get cast? What was it like working with Adam? Did you go on this tour bus to the amusement park as well?
You know what? I was unable. I had to go out of town that weekend, unfortunately, but my husband and kids went on behalf of me, and they had the best time. I
hate to bring this up now, but
he's more fun than me.
He was here with somebody who looked.
It's awesome working with Adam. You know, for someone who has done comedy before, like myself, it's not necessarily my forte. So to walk into an environment with all of these guys who are just so good at what they do, you can and I was completely supported to just improv and say things that were maybe not that funny, but a testament to their talent. They can turn around and make it funny, you know.
You have a great scene right at the top of the movie where Adam Sandler knocks on the closet door where you're inside crying and drinking, and that scene felt a little improvised. Or was that all straight from the script? There's some great one-liners there.
That was pretty.
I think that was scripted. Yeah, the script was in really great shape to start with. You know, it got us all. It got us all there, you know, so we were inspired by the script, but at the same time, once we kind of got what was on the page, Chris was open to us sort of, saying what we wanted to say. And there were some days we were making a PG movie, and then there were other days or takes we were making a real R-rated movie. So,
yeah, we had to hold it back.
We had to hold it back a little bit.
In terms of improvisation, his scene dressing down the Navy SEALs was completely improvised.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of the lines in the movie were in the script. But the
Did
MC
the script even call for him to do that? Because it was this wonderful sort of break from everything that was happening in the movie. Where did this scene come from? I love this moment, but this doesn't feel like it's on the page.
The scene was written exactly like, we went from A to B, but he took it from A to Z in a really unique and hilarious way.
Talk to me
One of
about
my best days ever on a film set, by the way.
why is that?
Just watching you improv that scene not only was so much fun, but truly from an actor's point of view, as a fellow actor, I was just so impressed with your talent. Truly, his skills. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. And these were very large men that you were.
What are they
going
to
do? No, it was a really, really great, wonderful day. And it's it's nice to see someone do it with such finesse.
Well, it's the joy of doing a movie like this is with, like I said, with Chris and these guys at the helm. He allowed us to just play and to discover, and I think that's why it does feel so unexpected, and that's why the movie works. A lot of those Amblin movies are unexpected. What the hell is the character of Sloth? Like, what is that in movies? You know, like there are so many elements when you watch those 80 movies that feel like you're just never expecting anything like that, and this has that to it.
Talk to me about your scene where you're performing.